What's going on, guys? It's geeking time. Are you guys fans of comic books? That's okay. So am I. Now, I think it's fairly known, if you guys watch my channel, that I am a huge comic book collector and I've amassed a lot of comic books. I want to share with you guys, I chose 15 of my favorite comic book covers from the 90s and like early 2000s, so like 2001 about. So that being said, I chose 15 covers that I thought to me are the nicest ones that I own in terms of 90s comics, and I also have, after that, I also have 6 honorable mentions. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so at the number 15 spot in the coolest covers that I own, I'm going to go with Cable number 1. It's just a cool, unique cover. Nothing to it. I just thought it was really neat because, you know, it's a pop-out writing, and I like the way that Cable looks, especially like with the graphics here. I don't know, I just think it's really neat. So it's pretty cool. So number 15, I'm going to give it to Cable number 1. Number 14, I have Wildcats number 2, and why do I like it? Why I think this is cool is just the way the cover's made. The foil, it looks like it's, you know, aluminum, and I know every time that Vanessa looks at it, she wants to snag this one so bad. I've actually had people ask me if they can take it off my hands because of it. And on top of it, you got the majority of the team, not all of them, but the majority, and I think it's a really nice cover, and plus it's, you know, it's Wildcats. I really enjoy Wildcats, so that's number 14. At number 13, it's Savage Dragon number 1. I don't know why. I just think it's really neat with the Savage Dragon Pollock, you know, coming running out of the issue. And when I was young too, this one like really caught my eye for some reason. So I thought that was a really cool cover. So this is going to be number 13 for me. Is going to be Savage Dragon number 1. At number 12, it's a very simplistic cover, but it's still a really nice cover. So this is Predator Big Game. This is issue number 2 of 4. I just look at that cover. It's self-explanatory. The Yautja right there, the Predator, with his, you know, with his blades right there, his staff, and then the bag full of skulls. I just think it's a really, really nice, minimalistic cover. There's nothing more to say. Predator Big Game. So for number 11, it's a issue that it's the first comic book issue I ever got when I was young. And if you guys saw my my Comic-Con of Montreal haul that I got, this is one of them that I picked up. So this goes back all the way to my childhood for the first comic book I ever received at number 11, Spawn issue number 63. It's a Greg Capullo cover. I just like that it's, you know, it's an unmasked Spawn wielding both his guns. You still have the cape motion. And I find that the worms here are really well done. I find that there's a lot of nice detail on the smoke. And just the cover itself, it really catches your eye when you look at it. So number 11 is going to be my issue of Spawn number 63. So now we're entering my top 10. For number 10, I chose an issue number 1 of one of my favorite artists of all time. It's his own comic book series. So for number 10, I put in Fathom number 1 from Top Cow and Image. It's just a beautifully done cover. Michael Turner was a fantastic artist, and I don't know, just, yeah, okay, you've got 2 images, but look his detail, look, the way he drew his dolphins are really nice. Right there, Aspen, he gave her a very pretty face, and I mean, just look at the pose on her right here. He's very accurate, I find, Michael Turner. So it's just, I find a very nice cover. So at number 10, Fathom number 1. Number 9 is kind of a gimmick cover, but I was a sucker for this gimmick cover. Even when I was young and I saw it, I was like, I gotta have this. One day I'll have it, and one day I did have it, so I ended up putting on at number 9, Shadowhawk number 1. And I believe it says at the top that you can't see really if you can, but it says, who is Shadowhawk? But it's just really cool because, you know, it's a pop out, and it's flashy, it's silver, it's not like your basic cover. It's a gimmick cover from the 90s. but I think it's one of the gimmick covers from the 90s that really stood out. And to this day, I think it's one of the nicest gimmick covers of the 90s. So number 9, Shadowhawk number 1. Number 8. You know, there are certain musicians and music bands that can have comic books and some that can't. This is one of those music bands that should have a comic book series because they look like cartoon and comic book characters in real life. And this to me is probably their best run in comic book form. It's from Image Comics. So I put on number 8, Kiss Psycho Circus number 7. That cover is just nice. I like the fact that the 4 heads of theirs are just like a totem pole. Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace. But even like the background is just really nice. Look at the detail on that. It's just really well done. When I was young and I saw the Psycho Circus covers, my parents never bought them for me. Obviously, I was young, and you know, Kiss was still different to me. I was always scared by Gene Simmons. But now that I look back on the covers and I look at all the covers, I think this is probably the nicest cover to come out, and this is a really beautiful cover. So at number 8, Kiss Psycho Circus number 7. So number 7, you guys can see my t-shirt, it's a Spider-Man comic. But this is from Todd McFarlane's run, one of the most successful Spider-Man comics of all time. But it's not number 1, this is issue number 6 of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. Just look at it, guys. I think Todd is at the top. Like, Todd really did a really phenomenal job on this cover. The way he's posing Spider-Man is just fantastic. Hobgoblin in the background looks even more menacing than he ever does, and I'm a huge Hobgoblin fan. But not just that, like the pumpkin bombs flying around, the detail. I mean, the detail in Hobgoblin is just so nice, and not just that, the detail in Spider-Man, the detail in his webbing, the way he's got him posed is just so beautiful, guys. So number 7 is issue number 6 of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. We're going to Top Cow Comics now from the late 90s. I believe this is 96 or 97. This is the first appearance of the Darkness. So this is Witchblade number 10 at number 6. I just think it's a really nice cover for the fact that it's one of the most standout covers in the original Witchblade run. Just look at the detail on Sarah Pazzini. This is Michael Turner who did this. Sarah Pazzini, aka Witchblade. Just look at the detail and on her and everything. The Hell Minions, Darkness in the background, just, you know, not giving a funk. And she knows there's a threat. It's a really nice cover, and it's one of those covers that if you hang up on your wall, you're gonna walk by and be like, hey, that's a cool cover. So at number 6 is Witchblade number 10. So now we're into the top 5. This next one comes from 2001, so it's the only one that's from the post-90s, but, you know, pre-2005. So, and at number 5, I chose from Dreamwave, a comic book company that doesn't exist anymore, Transformers number 2. The reason why I chose this cover is just the fact that it's Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker all on the cover. It's just a really nice cover. And these guys from Dreamwave, when they were drawing the Transformers comics, they did them so well. They put so much detail into the characters. It was sad to see Dreamwave leave, but you know, I mean, IDW picked them up, and IDW is still doing well with their comics on Transformers, but you're never gonna get, to me, you're never gonna get a cover of Transformers like this ever again. It's a unique cover, and for the time it came out, like I said, 2001, 2002, it was just a beauty to look at on the comic book shops and then on their shelves. So in at number 5 is Transformers number 2 with all the jets, all the Decepticon jets. Now, if you thought that the Predator Big Game cover was very simplistic and nice, you're going to really appreciate this next one at number 4. So at number 4, I've got Wildcats Trilogy, number 2. It's just a simplistic cover. It's just really beautiful. I love how Jim Lee drew it. Honestly, I was going through my comics, I was looking at all my Wildcats covers, and yes, I put Wildcats number 2 at the bottom of the list. But when I was looking at the Wildcat Trilogy covers, this one is the one that stood out, because there's only 3 of them in Wildcats Trilogy. And this cover stood out, and I feel like if I were to put this again on the wall, and somebody will walk by and see this simplistic, beautiful cover, somebody will look at me and go, wow, that's nice, can I buy that off you? So I think it's a unique, simplistic cover of the 90s at its best. So this is number 4, Wildcats Trilogy number 2. So in at number 3, it's a tie. It's the same exact comic book, but I have it with 2 different covers. So you tell me what your favorite one is. So first I'm going to show you so number 3 is X-Men number 1. Now I only have 2 of the 4 covers, but that's because I like these 2 the most. So first up is this cover here with Cyclops, Wolverine, and Iceman. It is done by Jim Lee. This is the hottest selling X-Men comic of all time, this issue here. So number 3, first part of the tie is X-Men number 1. The other one's X-Men number 1 also, but I'll show you the other one. So you got Wolverine, you've got Cyclops and Iceman. I just think it's really nice. Wolverine is really well detailed. I mean, Jim Lee put a lot of detail in the face, especially Cyclops. It looks really. This is one of the first times I look at Cyclops. I'm like, he's a badass. And Iceman maybe smaller in the background, but he still looks cool posing there. Okay, so that's the first one, and then the second one, part of the tie again, is X-Men number 1. Is the cover with Beast, Professor X, Jean Grey, and Storm. I'm a mega Storm fan, and I thought this was a really beautiful cover. It just really represents the X-Men, and look how well done Storm is. Look how beautiful Beast is done. I mean, Professor X is smaller in the background, but you still see the amount of detail. Same thing for Jean Grey, and look, these 2 covers, when you look at them now, they're covers that really catch your eye in terms of 90s comics, and there's a reason why it is the best-selling X-Men comic book of all time. So number 3 is X-Men number 1. Let me know in the comments below which of the 2 is your favorite cover. Number 2, we're going back to 1994 with a comic book by Brian Pulido from Chaos Comics. Yes. Does anybody remember Lady Death? Well, this was the, I believe it's the Beyond Heaven and Hell story arc, which was the first story arc for Lady Death after her first appearance, after her appearance and run in Evil Ernie. I believe this is issue number 2 in that run, or issue number 3. I'm not sure because the number's not on there, but we got Lady Death. I believe it's issue number 2 or number 3 of Between Heaven and Hell. I just like the fact that you've got Purgatory on the cover, who's pulling Lady Death like a puppet. And I think this is a really standout cover. It's, you know what, this is a cover that I'm definitely going to be putting on display. I'm going to display all the other Lady Death covers, but in the originals for Lady Death, I feel like this is the one that stood out the most. And I feel like if you look at any Lady Death comic book in general, you ask, you know, what's the defining cover? In my personal opinion, I would say this has got to be the defining, like, this is one of the coolest. If you want a Lady Death, a cool Lady Death cover that's a defining cover, this is definitely a defining Lady Death cover. So this is number 2 for me. Lady Death, I believe it's number 2 or number 3, Between Heaven and Hell. Alright guys, before I get to number 1, I kind of just want to do a quick honorable mentions to some of the comics that I had that aren't, you know, they didn't make my list. They're not exactly, some of them aren't the nicest, some of them are nice, but they just didn't make my list. But to me, they've always been covers that I've really enjoyed. To this day, some of them might not be that nice, but you know. So, honorable mention number 1, I've got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 1, the original comic book series from Hamilton Comics. Yeah, Hamilton Comics. That's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 1. Not the greatest cover, but you know, hey, it's got Power Rangers on it. It always caught my eye, so that's why I like it. Honorable mention number 2 is one of the worst, best artists of all time. Youngblood number 1. Again, it's one of those covers that caught my eye when I was younger, and you know, I have it in my collection. Honorable mention number 3 is from Mark Silvestri, I believe. Again, yes, it's Cyberforce number 1. I just like Rip Claw on the cover like that. He looks really cool. All the rest of them are okay, but Rip Claw on the cover like that, there's a reason why Rip Claw was the coolest character. So that's the 3rd honorable mention. The 5th honorable mention I have is X-Force number 15. This is basically Cable versus Deadpool, and it's the first time that these 2 ever fight in the comic book format. So I think that's a pretty cool cover, actually, to be honest with you. Seeing Deadpool and Cable fighting each other. And I believe it's Liefeld who did this cover, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's Greg Capullo who did this cover, so that's why it's a nice cover. The fifth honorable mention I have on my list here is Evil Ernie, Straight Outta Hell, #1. Look at that cover. Just look at that cover. If you remove all the writing and just have that, it would be a beautiful print to hang up on your wall, because it's so nice. So Evil Ernie, Straight Outta Hell, #1. And my final honorable mention is a comic book cover that always caught my eye when I was a kid. I never got it because I could never find it. And this is created by Mark Hamill. Yes, he who plays Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. And my final honorable mention is The Black Pearl, #1, which is a really nice cover. Very crime noir, but very, you could tell, like, superhero style. It's really nice. I always wanted this when I was a kid, and I finally have it. So those are my honorable mentions. Now I'm going to get to the last comic, which is #1. Let's go for this. Okay, so the #1 nicest comic book cover I have in my collection. You guys, when I show you this, you're going to be like, that's kind of not fair. It's basically SpiderMan #1 from Todd McFarlane. That's a nice cover, but I feel like when he brought it over to Spawn, he did it so much better with this cover. And to me, that is Spawn issue #8. What else can I say about this? Just the way it looks. If you want that seminal Spawn cover that is going to really personify everything Spawn is, this is your cover. Very honestly, this is the cover you got to grab if you want to get the seminal Spawn cover. It's to the point where the art of Spawn, I believe it's Series 26 Spawn figure, he is the most expensive figure of all of them when you go on aftermarket eBay and all that. So this has got to be the nicest cover I own. To me, it's also probably the nicest Spawn cover that I own. And I mean, it's just a beautiful cover. So #1 is Spawn #8. Alright guys, really hope you enjoyed that list. I haven't done a top 10 or like a countdown list in a long time. I did my worst and best movies of 2017, but apart from that, it's been a long time since I've done a countdown list. Just felt like showing you guys some of the coolest issues that I have, you know, from the retro, 90s era. That's pretty much it. I'll be back again soon. I still think that if you guys want to see my retro comics, let me know. I might even, if you guys want me to do, I could do a countdown of my of the coolest Spawn covers that I have, because I'm a big Spawn guy. So I can do a countdown of my top 10 or top 15 nicest Spawn issues that I have. Apart from that, you can go check out my latest video here. Pretty much it. Be sure to share, comment, like, subscribe, and as always, guys, it's cool if it's nerd cool. Peace.